I've heard a version of that says, money can't buy happiness, but I'd rather cry on my yacht.
Yeah. A big thank you to IHF Health Club for supporting this episode. Hello and welcome to the 10 Million in 10 Years podcast. I'm David, your host. It is episode 118 and I'm here with Leon Mooney. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great for you to be here.
It's been a minute. We've been
talked,
promising it for a while.
We have talked about it. You've been a bit hard to get, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a busy time.
Yeah. We were just talking before about podcasting in general.
Yeah, I was just saying I admire the 118 episodes now. Everybody I know that started one just gives up after a while. The consistency is probably the hardest thing I would imagine. I mean, you tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess so. It
seems to be levelling up as well. We've got cameras and...
Yeah, got cameras, coffees.
Great mics.
Yeah.
Good coffee.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nespresso.
Thank you.
Sponsored.
Unofficial sponsor. I think we've known each other for a couple of years now, haven't we? 4 or 5, I think. Yeah. Just through the community of Christchurch.
The village that is Christchurch. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I think I might have seen you somewhere on maybe a social of Nick Kennedy at some point in time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while. I've you were pretty deep in marketing when I first met you with your company, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think at the time I was probably not in ownership of my company, but general manager. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it would have been at least 4 years.
At least, yeah. Now we've got quite a few shared connections and crossover with the podcast guests, and we work just literally 2 buildings over from each other. Yeah, if
you shouted loud enough, I could probably hear you.
Probably, yeah.
That's a good. I use that reference of distance quite a lot. I've got a couple of friends who live really close to me, and they I have heard them.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. One of your previous podcast guests lives very close. Yeah. And I heard him on New Year's Day a couple of years ago shouting Happy New Year to someone across the little valley. Yeah.
Really? How good. I love that. Have you always lived in Christchurch?
I grew up here, but I did move away. I've lived a little bit in Dunedin. My wife studied pharmacy down there, so I moved down there. I was working for Vodafone and continued to do so from down there, and then eventually moved back.
Yeah. How'd you like living down there?
It's good. Dunedin is a hidden gem on a great day, or like an underrated city, but it's just a little grey and drizzly. People say it's cold. I don't think it's that cold. Like, it's just always just a little bit grey and drizzly. If it was, a couple of degrees warmer all year round and maybe got a little bit more sun, I'd probably move back. It's got something like 130 something beaches within 20 minutes drive of the city around that peninsula. It's incredible.
It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
What's that? Tunnel Beach?
Tunnel Beach. Yeah. I've never been there.
What? You haven't?
Yeah. I might have been to not every other beach, we had our favourites that we went to that were quite close. Tunnel Beach, it's closed for some of the year due to lambing, so access is a bit funny. So I think the couple of times we did try to go were no go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, gotcha.
And if you you set out with a mission to go to the beach and you drive past a beautiful looking one that doesn't have many people on it, you just stop.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, no, Dunedin was good. Bought property down there and learned a lot about renovating and consents and those types of processes early.
Yeah. Have you done many property deals since then?
It feels like a lot, but not compared to most, or some. We've predominantly purchased, renovated, used the equity to move on to the next one. Sold down a couple, and transitioning into commercial seems to be like the trend, but it's been our plan for a long time, and last year was the beginning of that realisation of that transition. We've done a bunch of property stuff over the years. My wife pretty obsessed with property, I think.
Cool.
I'm into it, but not to the level that she is. She's deep on. Before she was a pharmacist, she was a qualified interior designer, and so she's deep on like value add and layouts and changes, and I'm maybe slightly more conservative in thinking about like how that might affect consent and what the costs associated with might be. But overall we've done some pretty cool little residential projects.
Cool. But you're probably more into the business side of it, the economics. And the money side of it.
That's right. That's the more interesting bit for me.
Cool. And when we caught up earlier in the year and I was trying to hard sell you on the podcast, remember you were saying you're working on something big? Can you talk about that yet or not really?
Not yet. No, I know. We're not far off. I actually gave myself until the end of March to be all in or all out.
Okay.
And I pushed that to the end of April because we had some movement. So basically, that's an acquisition of a company, and we've been doing some broad due diligence and negotiating on price. I've taken some advice from lots of people, but of late, some really relevant people from Australia who have given me some really good insight. And then there's been a little bit of movement last month on potential structures and timing and things like that. So I've sort of given myself to the end of April.
Right.
However, in March, because I was thinking that I was probably going to be out, I also put an offer on to purchase a warehouse in Canterbury with a purpose to redevelop it, and so that's still on the go as well now. So just my luck, everything will probably come off, and then I'll be one busy boy.
Right, gotcha. Well, this isn't going to be coming out until the something of May, like the 13th of May, 14th of May.
Right, okay.
So if that helps,
we can record an addendum, short little one saying
we can get Toby to
he was successful.
That would be cool. Yeah. Cool.
I guess that's mainly what I do with regards to day to day is co-working. So I own Works, Works co-working. So we've got a few sites, Saltworks, Millworks, and Postworks, and maybe soon with this warehouse to be something else. Although I'm running out of name ideas, they usually relate to the building, but this one's just a boring old warehouse. So we'll see.
You're a creative guy, Leon. I think you can come up with something.
I've got a creative team. I've got a good team. We were talking about that big deal. It's been, man, it's like omnipresent in my life for the last 6 months. Sometimes, some nights you can't sleep thinking about the dollars, but it's still all pretty exciting, actually.
I guess that's the nature of anything big, right? Is that it's not a slow, or it's not a fast process, and it can take time and energy and resourcing, and so.
And also like scope creep as well. So like you initially go in looking at or thinking it's just this, piece of something, and then we've ended up being like, oh, okay. So once you get under the hood of a deal, you're like, oh, well, there's actually a lot more to it in this area and this area, and so I need an expert in that to discuss and to talk about. And then this one, it's had a few like positive surprises along the way. So it's quite cool.
I think
and also within that time, I've done business with vendors of this business, and like it's all quite funny. Christchurch is a village, right? So
totally, yeah. It seems like there's definitely a lot of interconnection, especially in the city and within certain circles. Like within, maybe the co-working environment, maybe within the gym, maybe within just the 4abs. There's just a lot of the same people seem to keep coming up.
It's a good thing and a bad thing, right? I love. Particularly, I feel like the last year, my network of friends and people I've done business with, and people I admire, I think has grown pretty rapidly. Not that I was like comfortable in my bubble, but I guess also we've had a couple of kids, and they're now sort of at like toddler stage, where we're like coming up for air, sort of looking around for that social interaction or piece that gets put on the back burner during those first couple of years. So. It's been really fun, and there's a lot of good personalities around. So
totally,
yeah. And then you get the people. So I'm lucky in that, running a co-working space, I get to know everybody. You get to know everybody. You get to know everybody's business. You get to know, if you're lucky enough, what they're working on and what their challenges are. You get to try and connect people to try and help, and so like then you meet other people. Like yourself, and in my case, I say you are one of those people as well who holds a position of like connector, and with the things that you run and the things that you're onto, it's the same thing. You're sort of like organising a group, and you've got that you're privileged to know at a deeper level a bunch of these people, and you're just helping them all come together, and they may very well benefit from that, which is awesome, and that's the same approach I take. And then there's other people as well. That you could name that are those magnetic personalities who not for business purposes but just by virtue of having their own gravity, they kind of bring you into their orbit. And I think that maybe it's just the age and stage. We're sort of all connected in Christchurch.
Yeah, I guess using that same analogy, you've got people that probably repel as well, right? You've got certain personalities that aren't so conducive to, I guess you've got different pockets of society, don't you? You've got like-minded people that tend to like the same things, interested in the same things, similar types of personality, but then you've got the ones that are just, I guess they've got their own world. I don't know where I'm going with this analogy.
Do you think? I think you're describing a couple of different businesses or pairings that I know of.
Yeah.
So you've got that magnetic personality, and then you've got the not the repellent personality, but you've got the opposite. You've got the introverted one, and they're often in business together.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I know a few property duos like that. One obvious one that we know, but there's others definitely. That example is not unique to them, and so I've always admired that. I've always kind of done my own thing, but I the trust that those duos have is admirable, right? There's a lot on the line with business, particularly when there's family involved.
Yes, yeah. It seems to either work really well, and it seems to be hyper productive, effective, or a train wreck. Yeah. Not many in between.
No.
In my experience, anyway.
Yeah.
So
you hear about the train wrecks, and then you meet the successes. Yeah, everyone else is
good analogy.
Still there, or still working on it. And
Yeah. I can think of a number of them off the top of my head, either podcast guests or people that I know, where you've got these quite different personality types, but they are the yin and the yang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And that, I guess that rounds out like a successful or a useful skill set or whatever. I feel like my wife and I are opposites in a lot of ways, and yet together like a pretty complete package. When you talk about the like the acumen and deals that we've done with property, and then also how we parent, and then also like our social scene as well. Like, opposites attract.
Right.
Very productive together, but very different. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Do you have, just a random question, do you have many couple friends? Do you have many couples that you're both friends with? Given
not really, no.
No.
Yeah, there's a couple, but they're mainly either her friends, and I kind of just try to get along with anyone.
You're friends with everyone,
Yeah, and then equally like some of my like really close friends will hang out with, and it's all one. But
Yeah.
I think it's led more by either side rather than couple friends. I think that couple friends piece is replaced by family. My wife's pretty tight with her sisters and stuff, so
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
What do you?
Well, I mean, relatively new-ish in the relationship with Emily.
Yeah.
Year and a half. So we are developing them, I guess you would say, and that's what made me think of it. We went out for a couple of dinners last week, and you know how like you get those weeks where you just like there's quite a bit of socializing, and it feels like this is unbalanced.
Yeah,
that was sort of one of those weeks. It was just like several dinners, couple of lunches, and then you get to the end of it, it's like I need a break from that social interaction, despite my love of people and extroversion.
100%. Yeah. An extroverted introvert to some degree.
Yeah.
Like I'm an extrovert, and I definitely, like, if I go away for 2 weeks, with the family, and it's just really nice and wholesome, like a definite part of my personality gets itchy for the interaction and energy of a crowd, or like a big social scene or a big lunch with friends or something. Whereas equally, running a co-working space, we've got about 400 members, and day to day, it's a pretty authentic version of me that's out there.
Yes.
Like, rah-rah, but there's definitely times where I can enjoy a quiet moment.
Yeah, totally.
I've found, this is really nerdy, but sim racing. So, like, I've got a really nice, like, sim with a wheel and stuff set up, and I can zone right out, and that's like a really good recharge thing, as well as quality time with family and friends and stuff.
Right.
It's like a couple hours a week or something at this point. Sort of late at night when everyone's gone to bed.
Interesting.
It's a really it's totally switched off.
So like Formula One sim.
Yeah, Formula One or
whatever.
Yeah, GT3 racing. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. You name it, I'll try it. I'll race it.
It'll be good for your inner bogan.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if my bogan's that inner, but
it's outer.
I think I just am. Yeah. There's no denying it. Yeah, definitely. Growing up in Christchurch, I would say most of the people I knew who grew up in Christchurch who are around my age were all bogans, I think. Yeah. Either that or like attracts like to some degree, maybe. It's like that law of attraction. But I've always been obsessed with cars and motorsport and things. Actually just got back from the F1 in Melbourne, and I can't believe I've never been before. Like, it's so close, so accessible, and like, why haven't I been doing that every year for almost I'm 38, I guess, so 20 years I could have been doing that, like, legitimately.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so amazing, a wicked experience.
Like, I've already figured out the dates for next year. They haven't been officially announced, but I've already booked, because if you book the rumour, you get the cheap flights, you get the cheap accommodation. Clever, yeah. Bold. It's definitely backfired on me before, but I'm pretty confident this time. So, like, I'm already locked for Melbourne next year.
Worst case scenario, you got to go to Melbourne.
Yeah, right. Like,
or you cancel.
There's no downside, right? I'm going to go to Melbourne, where we actually have some family.
Yes.
So I am going to Melbourne in March next year, which actually it is the weekend of my birthday. Oh. So yeah, there's worse places to be and things to do.
Totally.
But yeah, locked in on Melbourne F1 every year now. Has to be.
Work it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Would you go to the Vegas one?
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be cool, right?
So, like, I hate to use the term bucket list, but a goal is to tick off every Grand Prix. Yeah. I'm already locked for Singapore this year, and I think, Sarah and I were talking, my wife, talking about Japan next year. So I recently did a snowboarding trip to Japan, which was amazing, and now feel, having been there and experienced the hectic nature of some of the busier parts of Japan, that I feel like I could confidently navigate that with toddlers in tow and with the family. And so if we can combine the end of the ski season with the race at Suzuka. So as of recording today, the race at Suzuka was just this last weekend.
Right, yes.
Which was a great race, and it's probably my favourite track. So I think I'll try and tick that one off next year.
Very nice.
But yeah, the Vegas Grand Prix produced some fantastic racing last year, to the surprise of a lot of people. The on-track was fantastic, yeah.
Yeah. How many races are there in the F1?
Over the last few seasons, there's been about 22.
Wow.
This season, I think, is the 24, because you've got China back on the calendar and Vegas has been added. So maybe last year there was 23. Yeah, so there's about that many.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. That's cool.
It's awesome.
Big amount of travel for you then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not exclusively with F1, but just in general.
Yep. I never really did an OE. Have never ever really been that interested in travel. But I think now, I think particularly with business being like well managed, and my team being really supportive and able, I guess, like really quite skilled. I feel comfortable and no regrets going and doing those things now. I'd like to do more of them with the family. I've done a lot of boys' trips in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
And then we do a lot of family trips around New Zealand. So, yeah, it'll be nice to include the family in some of those trips. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess as they get older, it'll become a lot easier and a bit of a different dynamic.
Yeah, like I definitely don't want to travel to Europe with a 3-year-old, and So, yeah, we'll wait a few years for something that far, but...
Yeah. What else you got on your bucket list? Not that we like the term. I don't really like the term either, but it does represent something.
Well, bucket list to me mean like it's almost like it's something you want to do before you die, right?
Yeah.
I want to do these things soon so I can do them again and again and again. Like,
totally.
I don't want to buy a Porsche on my bucket list.
No.
I just want to buy a Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah. Porsche tragic, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've driven a few and loved them and always loved cars. So yeah, I think the next, the next iteration of leveling up that ability to spend on a bogan car or whatever.
Fancy bogan.
In a bogan. Yeah, fancy bogan. Yeah, bogan with the pinky out, right?
Yeah.
It might be at that level where I could buy something there. Where you can rationalise that you shouldn't just be spending that money on, housing or the business or something. Yeah. So,
what do you think you'd get for your first one?
I don't know, GT4 maybe.
Yeah.
They're pretty good value and they drive absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Right.
Although I do have 2 kids, so maybe a lesser spec 911 with the back seats, like lesser spec, like just not a GT3. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, equally as picky as that sounds, I'm not picky. I think any Porsche is cool.
Yeah. Nice.
There's a like a romantic in me that would love an old one, but I also know that, knowing me, I'll get really sick of that really fast and move it on, and there's just no point.
No.
Until you can have it as a collectible.
Yes.
Then I don't think it's a good option for me. But
no.
Yeah.
No.
What about you? Do you have a favourite car? I know you've had some great drives with Irwell Forest.
Oh, sponsor plug. I like that. That's a nice mention. Yeah, thanks to Andrew at Irwell Forest for the sponsorship. Appreciate that. I'll just make sure he's actually scheduled for this one. That'd be awkward. Nah, we can move it around. No, I have been very lucky to drive a lot of the vehicles out there, and I think it's amazing when you can have that experience. Like, I think if you're into cars, which I am somewhat, I wouldn't say I'm a full bogan, but I've definitely got a part. Like if you're wanting to acquire these cars in the future, like it's not quite the same going to a normal yard, so to speak, right?
No.
Like, you really need to have some pretty serious intent in my mind. Like, you can't just do it recreationally.
No.
Whereas I think with Andrew and how he's even experimented a little bit with the hiring option.
Oh,
so
okay.
being able to hire some of these cars and do a bit of an extended test drive. Like, what a great way to actually get a sense for a vehicle.
That's cool. I didn't know that about them. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's not a
What would be your dream car? You might already have it. Obviously, you've got a pretty slick car.
Yeah, I mean, the Tesla's all good. Like, it's all good. Yeah, I like it. I would like to get a Ferrari one day.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay. Just having driven that 360 the other day, that was
Oh, did you?
Just
Great.
an incredible experience.
360 was the first Ferrari I ever drove. I used to work at a car dealership and the owner had one.
Right, yes.
And every now and then you get tasked to go fill it up or, drop it to his house or something out of storage. Yeah.
What an experience, right?
What a car.
Like, what a car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't make, like, new vehicles don't feel like that anymore. Like, it is, they're a bit older now, but, like, they're super raw. Yeah, like real visceral.
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a meme just recently. It was like, money can't buy happiness. And then it had, like, in the frame below, it was like a guy driving a Ferrari and just absolutely just mouth open.
Yeah.
Screaming. It was awesome.
I've heard a version of that says, money can't buy happiness, but I'd rather cry on my yacht.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. That other one I've been in, I haven't driven this one. Aaron Green, that blue Ferrari 458, I think.
Cool.
458, some number, like a more recent one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just incredible.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. But yeah, I mean, I'd like a Ferrari, I'd like a Porsche, I'd like a Range Rover.
Yep.
Having that Range Rover for a couple of weeks from Errol Forest. Late last year, I think it was, or early this year, whenever it was.
Yep.
That was an incredible experience.
They're nice vehicles.
Yeah. Have you've driven one?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Have definitely.
Yeah, there's something, aren't they?
There's something. I don't know if I'd own one.
No.
I think they're too nice for me. They're lovely. They're awesome, but they're too nice.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just always felt like you're in it, you have to be on your best behaviour. It's got beautiful leather, nice wood, like it's too nice. I don't necessarily treat my cars great.
I was going to say, do you think that's because you would be like nervous?
Too rough.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not nervous about my cars at all.
No, you'd prefer to use them.
I've got the RS4 with ski racks on, and I'm going to smash that up Mount Hutt, as many times as I can this season. So, we'll see how that goes.
Have you seen that guy on Instagram with the Porsche of some sort, and he takes it off-roading and just uses it? Like he doesn't like...
Sounds like my kind of guy.
He's not like off-roading, ridiculous,
but
he's got like a roof rack and a camper and stuff on top.
Ah, cool.
I think Jeff Rhodes might be his name.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Wicked content.
Yeah.
And he's just like proving the point, like if I've got this thing, I want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it's really quite...
I think they have created, they made like a Dakar edition or something. But I that's an interesting blend, isn't it? The like rooftop camper and a Porsche. Like you're a Porsche, you can definitely afford to stay at a hotel. I don't like camping, really. So I'm like, why would you?
Yeah,
but I guess
if you're into adventure,
people are into different things, so I can accept that.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a different mindset, though, isn't it? Having an asset like that and not really being too fussed about it.
He's probably making enough off social media to offset the...
Possibly. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have like a specific dream vehicle, I just quite like to own a Porsche, own a Ferrari, own a Range Rover at some point. But, but yeah, the Tesla's all good for now.
I really like driving on the track, so having had a few vehicles that can do that, and then also a couple of dedicated track cars over the years, long time ago now, that's definitely... Yeah, whatever I get would be that kind of fun car. Yeah. If not a dedicated one, then just like a weekend car that could also be, introduced to some overheating brakes and things that happen on the track.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah. How does it work exactly with taking a normal road vehicle on the track? Do you need any safety equipment or? Yeah,
you need. I think it's different at all different tracks, but for the Joe Public, there's a organisation that runs track days, and they you can hire the helmet and overalls, and then you just need a fire extinguisher. And you also need to get your car like teched. They'll make sure that they're comfortable that your car's safe to go on the road. It needs registration and warrant fitness, and you need like track insurance and stuff. So it's a bit to do, but it's easy.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, terrifyingly easy to do. For how high the consequences could be.
Yeah. Because I guess that was the other question. I didn't know you could get insurance for it. Or is that insurance about medical, or is that for the vehicle?
No,
itself?
that's for the vehicle, yeah.
Oh, you can insure it. Okay, gotcha.
A lot of people don't get that right.
Find out the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more common to be able to get it on high value cars. Yeah, it is what it is. Ruapuna, Remark Motorsport Park, or whatever it's called, is for the most part fairly forgiving. It's got big long runoffs at the end of the straights and things.
Gotcha.
So yeah, if you really overcook it in a road car, like you can't. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, you could go wrong, but not that wrong, I think.
Yeah. I was gutted. I was out at Ruapuna a few years ago with a friend that had a track car, and it had 2 seats in it at that stage, and so the intention was to do a couple of laps and then let me drive.
Oh yeah.
And of course it breaks down.
Oh no.
Just beforehand. Gutted.
I have a friend's jet boat like that. He's had a jet boat for about 5 years. Every time we try to take it out, something goes wrong with it.
Right.
Even though I have seen it, and I have seen it in the river, I still I don't believe it's real. Yeah.
No.
Because I haven't been able to drive it yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, funny. So what's the rest of the year look like, mate? You've got a bit of travel. You've got this potential deal coming through.
Couple of deals.
Works is all good. You've got a good team you mentioned.
Yeah, we've just got a staff member finishing up this week for maternity leave.
Oh yeah.
So we'll navigate that and see what we're going to do. We've got a cool intern that's picking up some of those hours, and we might pick up another part-timer. Ideally, we grow by one site within that maternity leave contract, and so whoever we bring on, if we bring someone on, can then stay on, and we then obviously bring back in that person into our team. So that'll be interesting navigating that. I've been a manager of people leader for probably over a decade, and this is, although having managed men and women, this is the first time navigating maternity, but it's been cool as a parent to just totally understand what they're going through and be really supportive, and be what I would want someone to treat me like. That's a rewarding part of it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So works is good. We're really high occupancy at the moment. We've got no space at Millworks, no space at Postworks, and for the most part, Saltworks, which is the largest one in town, is full, but for a couple of desks. So we're sort of high 90% occupancy. As with any business, cost pressure on cost of goods and all of that. Like all of our suppliers are pumping prices, and for the last 24 months we've kept everything the same in terms of our external pricing. So probably need to review that this year, I think. But
right.
Yeah, I think with growth comes a smarter look at your books and a better strategy. And I've got a really good business manager / coach that I work with who's been really good at setting me up to set the company up well.
Yeah.
Rob Vertogen, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. No, I'm a fan of the category.
In the most classic Christchurch story ever, I went to school with him.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
It was shit.
Hey?
It was a shit school. I don't want to go. It was St. Bede's, so horrible school, in my opinion.
Real?
Lots of ex-St. Bede's boys around, and they might like it, but I'm not a fan.
No.
Rob and I weren't friends really at school. We knew each other, no problems, but
yeah.
I was looking for a coach, and then somebody said, "Oh, I know someone who's working with one. Do you want their email?" Yeah, okay, let's have coffee. And it turned out to be this guy, and it was hilarious because after school, I guess I kept up with what he was up to. He did some pretty cool, interesting stuff with some companies, and then bought a company, grew it, exited, and then last I knew he owned a couple of restaurants in Auckland.
Oh yeah.
And then turns out he's moved back to Christchurch or North Canterbury, so his wife can run horses on their property. I think she's like some sort of semi-pro, like equestrian kind of industry. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I know she was driving an hour and a half each way in Auckland every day to go tend to the horses.
Wow.
And now they have them on their own property, and he's the one that drives into town every day from the country. But he's pretty happy being back in Canterbury.
Yeah, nice.
So the business stuff. I wouldn't say we've got a rinse and repeat style process, but we've got a really good plan that we can apply to a new site to open it, whether it's a fresh fit out or taking over sort of an already existing space or something like that. And I'd say by the end of the year, if the big deal doesn't come off, I'd be really disappointed to have not opened 2 more sites.
2 more, wow.
And that's probably 1 through growth and hopefully 1 through acquisition.
Yeah, wicked. I love it.
So co-working space owners,
yeah.
if you want to sell your co-working space,
well, yeah,
I want to buy it.
Yeah,
definitely. There's a lot of good operators in Christchurch. I think there's good people running good spaces, and there's lots of I think good outcomes that come from companies and people and humans using these types of spaces.
For sure.
And so, if I can roll our brand, our version out, and continue to support a wider works community, then I'll be pretty happy.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's about finding the right space for the right person, I think. Yeah. And you've probably no doubt noticed that over the years, right?
Yeah. The really good thing is, and when we get people who come in and like our spaces have a particular vibe or whatever, and it's not gelling, like I've been doing sales for years, and you can kind of figure it out pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is I can quite honestly, hand on heart, say, you should go talk to David
XYZ
or Clinton, or there's really good operators around. Knowing what I know about the industry in other areas, Wellington, Auckland, and the east coast of Australia predominantly, there are some operators that are just purely driven by money, and that's not a bad thing, but the experience that you get there is dictated by that, rather than a hospitality first, which I think is more conducive to the community, which is what you're actually paying to be a part of. Shout out to Clint, actually, who owns Genius Co-working.
Oh yeah.
So he's moved his site in Ferrymead into a brand new building, and this week he's been in there a month or so. He's doing a grand opening party on Thursday, so I'm gonna go along and support him.
Where's the new one?
It's still in Ferrymead. It's on the first floor of a building. It's really cool. So it's amazing, actually. Yeah. So he also owns Ergo Style, which is a furniture company.
Oh yeah.
And they did a fit out for a client in the space that they are now occupying. And that client grew such that they needed to move out.
Right.
And he has basically just taken over. It's a great fit out.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome.
I can actually see it from my house.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's really cool. So I can't wait to go celebrate that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And is it bigger than the previous site? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers, but it's easily double.
Yeah.
With some different offerings as well, like meeting rooms and private office stuff that he didn't have previously, which is a good product mix. And I like his approach as well.
Yeah,
nice.
Nice.
Good sort of sense of humour about it, which we've been to a few conferences together and different industry events and stuff. So he's a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I've actually got a really good friend who works from his space.
Okay.
And when I met this person and sort of started to become pretty good friends with them, he said, I'm definitely just going to stay at Genius. I'm never going to come to your co-working space. I said, I was never going to ask because I'm not ever going to poach.
No.
And he goes, no, but just so you know, on principle now, I'm not going to go to you, as for better. He's like, I'm just never going to do it.
Right.
I'm always going to be that customer you want, but you can't get. So, yeah. Cheers, Jason.
No names.
No names, Jason Main. Yeah, good.
What's he do?
He's a marine construction engineer.
Oh, yeah.
He has a wild job. So he works for contracts to a company that is based in Perth. I think he used to live there. And basically he designs and refits wharfs. And so if you think about how often a port uses a wharf, like it's all the time. It's 24 hours a day. So they'll get like 72 hours to redo some pilings or something. And so, there'll be 180 guys on site doing this thing. And Papua New Guinea was a project he told me about where, he flew in, spent 5 weeks on the ground, and they had like 24 hours or 12 hours every 36 hours to do the work. Wow. And so it was like, and he's like project manager-y, lead engineer or something. And so, pretty crazy.
Yeah, nuts, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of... that's a good example of like the weird and wonderful that work in a co-working space.
It really is. I was just thinking about some of the people out there at the loft. Yeah. Just down the road from Works.
Love the loft.
Love the loft.
Rest in peace, the greenhouse. It's way better now.
Yeah. Yeah, was that an incubator?
Yeah, that was a Christchurch NZ run incubator. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it went pretty well. But like any incubator, in my opinion, I think they kind of run their course.
Right.
And I'm not sure if it shut down or not before Brett came in, but...
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Obviously, beautiful space, great building. I used to work for the developers who fixed this building and, was a part of the team developer side that helped with the leasing to the Ducks Group and things like that. Gotcha. And then subsequent sale to Headley and his team. So, pretty familiar with this building.
What was it beforehand, originally?
Max Brew Bar was the pub.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the rest of it was.
Don't know what it was historically. Like, don't know.
No, I can't remember. Yeah.
No. Got asked it the other day and I was like, that's a good question.
This was a interesting part of town.
Yeah.
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 Vodafone building, for example, on the site of so I'm told, a strip club prior to the quakes.
Right.
So, maybe you could add that into your pitch for this place. Not specifically that, but, you could allude to it in a humorous way,
It's hard to remember back that far to what it used to be like around
Google
here.
Street View with the... You can go like back in time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
there's
like a slider somewhere that you can slide back in time for that particular location.
Wow, very cool.
In Christchurch, you can go to pre-quake. Yeah.
Yeah, right. How do you think the stadium's going to impact this immediate area?
It's going to. I think it's going to bring a lot of people to the area, so I think that's going to support the businesses really well. So Jabba, the steakhouse in Litchfield Lane in the courtyard there, so that the little area in there has always struggled for hospitality tenants. However, Jabba was like the first one in there and is the only one left and is going really well. Opened another site out in Marshlands, I think, but they've also just they're about to open the little bar. In fact, when this goes live, their little bar will be open, and that is solely because they're so busy, and they don't have anywhere at the moment. Like if you turn up half an hour early to your reservation, there's not really like a bar you can sit at. So now they'll have this almost speakeasy style, like it's just a nice sort of intimate bar right next door in that courtyard. And so those types of businesses will do really well out of the stadium. How it'll impact everything else, it'll probably push up the price of rent here, which is good, I guess. It'll be a desirable part of town. I had hoped, I guess, that the build itself might have some of those positive impacts, but it seems like it hasn't really done that. Yeah, I remember there was cafes around here who was sort of, the stadium was long talked about. It was about to happen. It's happening next year. Next year. And so there was quite a few businesses who were sort of like hanging on to that hope. Right. And even then, now thinking back, like now that construction's well underway, we still haven't seen that influx of.
No,
I would have thought we'd seen high-vis.
It's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder where they go.
Yeah, I don't know. They have.
Maybe there's an on-site thing, or maybe they go to the other direction. I don't even.
So they have leased a warehouse on Chum Street, and they've got a big. They do all their lunches in there.
Right.
And there's.
With C4.
It's the old C4. Yeah. It's the old C4, and then Yeah, so I don't know. They don't seem to. Perhaps I think a lot of it's Filipino talent that's been brought in. Some sort of quite specialised.
Gotcha.
IP6 SWAT pack. They're like stadium builders. That's what they do.
Yeah.
On budget, on time, every time, and good on them.
Is that their tagline?
I don't know.
It should be.
It should be. Yeah. yeah. Like their history is very impressive.
Is it?
East Coast of Australia building only stadiums. Like they've built some amazing stuff. So I think maybe some of the like the Filipino talent that's come in is probably not that interested in
They're
in
not
the
really
local
hitting the
bar
cafes,
scenes
they're
in and around.
there to work, right?
Yeah.
I know living relatively close to it and seeing the progress and the intensity of the construction. It was just visibly different than say other projects locally.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot to be said, isn't there?
So much.
I'm really looking forward to it. I was a ratepayer in Dunedin for a long time and was aware of the whole, the ratepayers who were against the stadium being built down there. But it just brings so much to the city that I hear some of the negativity around the cost. Like, oh, why are we building a stadium for rugby? Like, it's not just rugby.
No, of course not.
It's going to be like a multi-use venue. It's going to have facilities on the ground floor. Like the landscaping will be amazing. Like it's a great experience going to that stadium in Dunedin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think I last went there for a concert, not even for rugby. And so, walking in, it's all good, and the outdoor areas are fantastic. All the streetscapes around have been looked after well, and I think we'll all around here benefit from Te Kaha.
Yeah, totally.
It's an anchor project, right?
Massively.
It'll be a real jewel in the crown. Or
is it late 2025? It's due, or
I think it might be 27.
Oh, 27.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think the stadium gets finished next year, but the grass grows really slowly. No, I don't know.
I mean, it will.
No, I'm not sure actually.
Don't know.
I might be mixing that up with the Metro Sports facility.
So somewhere between 2025 and 27?
Yeah.
We'll fact check this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flashing. Yeah. That's no idea. I get the updates every month by email, but
yes.
It is impressive to you sort of see it out the window or as you're walking past, but when you're actually when you go stand right by it, by the fence and look up, it is a huge structure.
Ginormous.
Totally. If I was to say to you, how's this for a hot take? That stadium is big. It's an obvious statement, but when you get there, it really is. It's
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't appreciate it until you're either, as you say, walking by it or even driving by it down Barbados when you're approaching that top framing, that design element at the top. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a really obvious hot take, one that really does take you by surprise. So having recently gone to the F1,
right?
People say, how was it? How was it? They know I'm a big fan, and I go, yeah, this is going to sound really funny, but they're really fast, and they are. I mean, obviously they're Formula One cars, and you watch all these other race series during the day, but then the Formula One cars come out, and they are uncomprehendibly fast to begin with, and then you don't get used to it quickly. Every lap, you're still just whoa,
this is insane.
How does that?
Yeah.
I've seen physics before, and that appears to be
Defying
disagreeing with it. Yeah, defying it. Yeah. So really awesome.
Yeah, I thought the same about NHL hockey.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
having watched a few when I lived in Canada, so watching, say, junior leagues or local, more regional teams, and then going to the NHL by comparison.
Oh right.
It's just this night and day contrast. You think the local, team is impressive and fast and whatever, but then
it's a pretty rip shit and bust sport. So yeah, I can imagine. I've only ever seen the Canterbury Devils play.
Right, gotcha.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and they would be more comparable to, say, a smaller town, as you'd imagine, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that leap.
So it's just certain things you just can't comprehend unless you're there, right?
Yeah.
Same as NFL. I don't know have you been to an NFL game?
No.
Similar thing, just the size and the energy and the atmosphere. Crazy.
I went to a Cubs game in Chicago last year.
Oh yeah.
At Wrigley Field.
Yes.
Which is, I could be misquoting, but I think it's the oldest field that is played in the in the MLB, whatever it is. And the crowd, the energy was amazing. I think it was like a Tuesday afternoon, and there was 35,000 people.
Wow.
At this game. They were playing the Dodgers, who are from LA, and apparently they're a little bit like Man United, where they kind of maybe like buy the talent and everybody likes to hate them.
Right.
And so we were in Chicago, they were going for the Cubs, and the Cubs smoked them.
Right.
In what appears to be one of the world's most boring sports. But I was happy because the crowd was happy.
Yeah.
It was a really cool experience.
Exactly.
Even the difference of an event in America to an event in New Zealand is so different. The halftime or whatever, however many
Times
breaks,
there are.
however many times there are in baseball. But even down to the stadium design and things, like you could see the action on the field or on a screen or both at all times, including when you went to the toilet and including when you were in line to buy a drink or food or merch or anything. And everybody was so pumped. I mean, maybe that's just a customer service thing, but everyone was so pumped to be like serving you.
Nice.
And like they're like, yeah, go Cubs. Like,
Yeah.
Just
Just an energy, right?
Yeah. It was great.
There's
and
no meek and mild and somber and
there's no Canterbury
or
or whatever that horrific rugby chant is, you know. Yeah.
Totally.
I heard is it like the baby elephant? Like the
the
classic.
Yeah. How good.
Yeah. That was iconic.
Yeah, I never went and saw a baseball game, but that would be on my list, on my bucket list.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's I mean, don't do it if you're if you've got anything else to do that day, I would say. But
right.
Maybe
but do it once.
You
though,
do it
right?
once,
Yeah. I saw the All Blacks play the Eagles there at Wrigley Field.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and for someone that's not into sports at all,
Yeah.
it was still incredible. Like experiencing the tailgating, so how they all get together beforehand, and it was the middle of winter, so it was the coldest I think I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking real cold.
Oh, yeah. So I was there in what are we? I think I was there like a year ago, and it was snowing.
Yes.
So, this is like the very end of the winter for them, you know?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine.
The combination of that lake and the wind and the inland, it just seems to be a recipe for a cold place. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had I was there for a conference, and I mean, most conferences that you're overseas for, you end up with a little alcohol blanket on anyway, so I could walk back to the hotel and not be frozen. It was good.
Yeah, true that. Was that around the time that WeWork was sort of going through some challenges?
WeWork's been going through challenges for a long time.
That's true, yeah.
The truth be told, I get asked about WeWork a lot, being in that industry, but I actually don't know a lot about the WeWork story, and I was aware of it as it was happening, the original kind of, overblown valuation and investment and stuff, and I haven't watched the documentary. Like I don't see there's a real difference in what that North American, and maybe it's everywhere in the world other than Australia and New Zealand, but the Australasian version of co-working and flexible space is very different than the American style and North American style. And so that WeWork, WeWork, you're worried? Like, no, because I'm not doing anything like what they're doing.
No.
In America, it's scale or die.
Right.
Take on venture, grow.
Right.
Whereas I've bootstrapped here, there's no debt in the company and I'm the sole shareholder. It's like, no, I'm not in danger because I don't have $1 billion valuation on a company that's worth 40 million or something.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Do you mean more from an offering, like a service offering, like not a lot of community focus, purely just selling space? Is that?
The big stuff like WeWork, they layer on some community, but it is all just real estate. Yeah. Whereas over there, when I went on this to this conference, the people that were my people were the indie operators. Yeah. And
indie makes anyone sound cool, right?
yeah. And small compared to like, these people, the CEOs of Industrious who got on stage, they got, 400 locations across America, Asia and England. And
wow.
like, he was a really down-to-earth, relatable guy, this CEO and founder of Industrious.
Industrious. Cool name.
It's really cool. It's a really, really cool brand as well.
Yeah, right.
What was really interesting was that guy sitting on stage with the CEO of IWG North America, which is a really corporate brand compared to Industrious, which is obviously corporate by the size, but has, some more funky roots, and that shows through in the branding and fit out and delivery and flavour and stuff. And so, their hot takes on a couple of different questions that were posed to them were really interesting. But yeah, then they referred to, the indie operators, and then I met some of these. One was the Coven. It was run by 4 women, and it was a female dedicated space.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't a female exclusive space, so they said they had plenty of men going, but that it was primarily designed with women in mind by women.
Right.
And that they said the number one piece of feedback that they get, the 2 main pieces of feedback that they get, first of all, like these, businessmen and entrepreneurs and people who are contractors working remotely using their space, used to say, I've never felt so cared for in an office, which I thought was really funny. And then also it smells really nice, which is awesome.
Good.
And I thought their version of delivery, that's actually, they coined, as far as I'm aware, coined the phrase hospitality, not real estate. And that's now made it into Works as one of our values. And I thought they were, the bee's knees. I thought they were pretty cool. And yeah, they've got 7 sites, so you're just a wee indie operator in America, but New Zealand, huge.
Yeah. How big would you want to get? Like, what's the?
I would like to get to 1,000 members. Yeah, and at the moment we're about 400. And so by the end of the year, with 2 sites, like depending on the size of them, if we could cross 500 and be approaching 6, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And then I think the year after we'll do something with our main site, and either, probably move, I'd say, move location, still somewhere in the Salt District. That'll give us capacity for another 100 probably, and maybe. So I would have no desire to export Works outside of Canterbury.
Right.
I think it's too personal of a branding, not a brand, it's too personal. Our product is really hands-on with our members, and it's driven a lot by me being quite curious about our members' businesses and all of that. And so I want to, I've seen a company with those values try to grow, and you have to be you're so reliant on the person that's delivering it on the ground. And so I would want to be able to, if it catches on fire figuratively or literally, I just want to be able to drive there and fix that problem. And like if there's an issue with a member or a customer or something, I just want to just go there and fix it. That's kind of my nature. And so I don't want to be too far away from that. There's definitely brands and other offerings that could grow and do really well at scale, and there's brands within New Zealand I really admire that are doing it, and it's awesome and totally replicable and all of that. But that's not me.
No, that's cool. I think it's good to be clear on where you're heading and why there's that set end goal. Identifying those things that are important.
I think you have to identify that stuff pretty early, because otherwise, like if you don't know where you're going, what are you putting in place now to get there? Like totally. you're just spinning your wheels.
I couldn't agree more.
I think if I could buy into a brand that was scalable or had an offering that could go nationwide, then that'd be good.
Right.
But I am not the right person to start it.
Right. Yeah, gotcha. There's There's an interesting landscape, isn't there, in the industry, with sole sites, global operators that are here. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of international money in it because it's real estate, just inherently.
Yeah.
But I think any of that, that corporate money and corporate, structure can be rounded off. I think Kiwis and Australians do a pretty good job of delivering a local version, still true to the values and maybe not values is the wrong word, but within the confines of that very set specific corporate, model. Kiwis and Australians do a good job of rounding those edges off and still delivering something pretty good.
Yeah, totally.
Particularly having seen the other side in America versus even Hub Australia. Really admire Brad and the CEO and the team there about how they deliver it. They've got 20 plus sites and ranging from they have a range of different products within their stack, so it's it could be quite a cheap site to go work from, or they've just released one in Sydney that's next level. You got dedicated concierge per pod of 8 desks that are out in the open.
Wow.
I don't know what that person does, but I presume it's coffee, dry cleaning, theatre tickets, plane booking.
Cool.
I don't know.
Yeah. I love that level of innovation.
Yeah, they're at the forefront of it as well. Yeah, they really test some good stuff.
Yeah. I guess the other comparable that comes to mind, not so much in the co-working space, but in the community space, would be IHF.
Yeah.
Just in terms of what they've built and with also reference to the iterations that could follow, bigger ones, smaller ones. Yeah.
I hope this doesn't appear to be anything like the IHF Premium elsewhere in the country. And I've a member there, and I've spoken to a few people who are I'm trying to convince Dan to take it, to Auckland and Wellington and, arguably Queenstown's probably prime for, high net worth individuals buying a membership to something. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Mountain Club down there does a good job. I don't know if you've met Paddy that runs Mountain Club. It's a co-working space in, I think it's 5 Mile, one of the developments out past Frankton. But they've also got a central city one, which is primarily an events and members club.
Right, cool.
But it's so it's got a bar and stuff, but it's totally members only.
Wicked.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool that I'm in Queenstown, not enough because it's a lovely place and I enjoy it, but I almost kind of want to get a membership because it's exclusive.
Well, that's sexy,
and I know
isn't
so
it?
hopefully I can get a discount, but
Yeah. Have you been to the Sherwood down there?
No, but I have heard good things.
Yeah, it's really cool. They are a restaurant / hotel / they do also offer a co-working.
Oh, do they? Oh,
and
cool.
So I stumbled across it a few years ago and just was blown away. It's just not what I expected anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just an incredible space, in terms of the design, the vibe, just the way it's been set up and operated. It's very unique.
Where is it? In the central? Or
it's on the way into Queenstown on the mountain side of the road between Frankton and Queenstown. Yeah.
I stay at the Punamu Suites a fair bit, and they, so and that's in this on the right.
Oh yeah.
As you go in, I'll check them out.
Punamu Suites.
Yeah.
Is it
It's they're apartments.
Oh yeah.
Kind of hotel.
Yeah.
Blend, cool. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They're really good at the bait and switch of this is the beautiful view you're going to get, but you don't get that. You get the one that's facing the mountain.
Gotcha.
That's not actually what happens, but I've definitely booked a few times. Been that's a good price for that lakefront.
Right.
Oh, whoops.
And you got the old garden view.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's still great quality, so I'd go back.
Yeah. I just get curious around these types of facility, whether it's a gym or a co-working space, or I don't know what it is. I think it's the integration of a physical space visit with the community. And that's where you get this sort of harmony in the sweet spot when you've got like-minded people as well as a wicked design. just tends to.
I think design influences it a lot. I think particularly like we spend a lot of time, particularly in the beginning, but also ongoing, talking about just space optimization and the design of like the layout design. It's really satisfying. It's quite geeky probably, but it's really satisfying to think like even like a single piece of furniture, like, oh, that might be better facing a different way because people are often sort of turning around to talk to their colleague or whatever, or social connection, and maybe if we just turn that, and then you do that before the space opens for the day, and you see people come in and they start like using it, and you're like, yes, whereas if you do that and it's wrong, people will sit there and it'll be weird and they'll move, and so you'll know immediately whether you got it right or not. Really good. It's a good dopamine hit. But it's satisfying to see people using it, and
those details, right? They tend to matter.
And like for us, like zoning with regards to noise is a big one. We've got some like active noise cancelling devices to help with some of that noise mitigation.
Right, like white noise type. Setup.
Similar. They're a combo unit. They do a few different things, but I primarily use them for the active noise cancellation, white noise kind of.
Right.
Really good, really subtle, game changer. Guaranteed. Like a particular area on a busy day, you'd see people being a bit uncomfortable with the noise, and we would get the odd piece of feedback installed. That literally disappears.
How long ago was that put in?
A couple of years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's just a little white unit on the ceiling. You'd never know. I spotted them in a restaurant I was in Melbourne recently, and pointed them out to the people I was dining with, and one of the people was the ex-head chef of that restaurant, and he was like, that's really interesting that you would mention that, like that sound and acoustics piece, because that was something that we got horrifically wrong at the beginning, and that was like a major piece of feedback from people, and it was like blatantly obvious, and so they went all in on a sound engineer to come in and redo the things.
I tend to be quite sensitive to noise, like whether it's too little, too much. I find that if it's overly loud, like I don't know if you ever notice it at cafes or restaurants when it is too loud. Through whether it's the
unknown chapter.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
No, it's way better than it used to be. Like they've done some serious work on that. I went in there once and couldn't think. Then now there's like a whole garden above you, like that really soaks up some of that sound. It's a lot more pleasant.
Interesting.
Cup-eye unknown chapter.
But seemingly, like a lot of people obviously didn't notice or mind, or they'd go there anyway. Whereas for me, I'm just like, nah, it's not. It's too
much.
It's too much.
Fair enough.
But
there's a lot of people in any given co-working space wearing noise cancelling headphones.
True. And I tend to wear them not because of the external noise, but just I don't know. It just seems like you're in a different world, right?
That's it. I haven't caught a plane or been in an airport without them for years.
They're great, aren't they? What a great invention. What sort do you roll with?
So I think I've got some Bose
ones, yeah.
NC700s maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah. I had some nice Sonys, but I left them in an Uber, and so I thought it was my time to jump over to some Bose options.
I left a pair of Bose on the plane once, and they were brand new. It was literally that maiden outing.
Oh no.
And I realised just after deplaning, turned around, and I was like, look, I've just left the headphones, like surely they're still there. Nah, they had mysteriously gone.
Oh no. Yeah.
So
I hate that. I left a laptop on the bullet train in Japan recently, and
gone.
Yeah.
Damn.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
I was 100 miles away before I remembered that I'd left it in the seat pocket in front of me.
Right.
Yeah. I'd been doing some work. It was like a 2-hour journey. I'd been doing some work on the little fold down seat thing.
Yeah.
And then I put it away, and then I fell asleep, and then because it's quite a hectic place to travel, my friends were like, oh, wake up, we're at the next station. And so I was just like, right, go, bag on, suitcase, go, all go. Yeah.
Go on.
Go on.
The unfortunate thing is that's likely unusable if you can't get through the password, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's ways you could reset it.
So I realised, we got off the train and went to the bus station to catch this bus to get to the ski town we were going to. And I realised on the bus ride I was able to lock it via iCloud or whatever the function was. And so, it's unusable unless... And if they're smart enough to get around that, then they deserve to use it.
I reckon. Yeah, if you can get past Apple's tech, then...
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a replacement one as soon as I got home, so it's all good.
It's all good.
Travel insurance.
Yeah, gotcha. Through the credit card or...
No, like travel insurance?
Yeah.
No, because I've had quite a bit of travel on, I've got a yearly policy for it.
Oh, cool.
Through Gerard's.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Marcus Walton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Would know him, maybe.
Yeah, I've heard of
Village
the name.
of Christchurch. Yeah.
Yeah. Gerard's.
Yeah.
So is that Ethan?
Ethan as well, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's around, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's in the village.
He's a runner.
Is he?
We
Yeah.
were talking about running earlier.
He's pretty elite, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a broad thing, isn't it? I'm a runner. I enjoy running. I enjoy park runs. You know, generally enjoy running from my problems.
Yeah.
But the Ethan is also a runner, but he's like an ultra distance elite runner.
Right. Yeah.
Seems unfair to him for me to say I'm a runner. Yeah.
It's funny when people make comments like that, right? Like, oh, can you ski? It's like, what does that mean? Like that's a really broad one as well, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's like I'm really fast at math really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what's 17,000 times 289? 400,082, yeah. Well, that's wrong. Yeah, I didn't say I was good. I said I was fast. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Do you listen to podcasts?
Some. I listen to yours sporadically, but I'm an audiobook guy.
Audiobook, yeah.
And I'm like a real not true crime, fiction, like detective, murder mystery type adventure kind of tragic. My Audible stats, I'd challenge you. I reckon I might have listened to the most. So I've wasted the most time listening to Audible.
Wow.
Maybe out of anyone. But
you're a heavy hitter on the Audible.
I get through a lot. And some of that's like that self-help and business, acumen, Alex Amorzi type books
stuff,
as well. But most of it's just sort of fiction. Yeah. The podcasts that I listen to are F1 related.
Oh, yeah.
Mainly or regularly. And then I'll jump in and listen to interesting guests on like yours or like maybe Joe Rogan or something.
Oh, yeah.
Less and less those, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Gotcha. You got a top 5 list of books in the business category?
I've got a top one I've got maybe a theory on businessy self-help books. I feel like they're all trying to tell you the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, like there's some pretty core principles to, how you should conduct yourself and what you need to do and how you need to go about it. And some of them, you'll just listen to a few of them or many of them, hundreds of them, perhaps some people, and you'll find one or a type that really resonates with you and your personality. And so for me, because I listen to a lot of like murder mystery and like war kind of fiction, essays type stuff, I found Jocko Willenick.
Oh, yeah.
Big ex SEAL Team 6 Delta guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is, but he his book Extreme Ownership.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say changed my life, but it definitely changed my perspective really radically. It's basically everything's your fault.
Yeah.
You're just not taking enough responsibility.
That's the summary of it, right?
Yeah, and so his one, the way he delivered it was he would tell you this 5 principles. I forget what they are, but they were really good. And he would tell you the principle, then he would tell you a story about where he learned that principle in war in Afghanistan or wherever, and then he would tell that principle of where, since he's been retired, he does like corporate training and stuff, and where it's really applied in a business sense, and then he'll talk about the theory behind the principle. And there's like 5. So there's 5 war stories, 5 business stories, and they're all heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically it's
That's
your team member didn't hit their KPIs. That's your fault.
Yeah.
You didn't train them well enough.
That's right.
That report that they gave you wasn't good enough. That's your fault.
Yeah.
You didn't tell them how important that report is to you. And so, yeah, that's the single one that I recommend to people. I do also quite like some of Alex Samorzi's stuff. That like 10 times your price or whatever. I can't remember the name of the book, but there was a theory.
10x
probably. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. And I think I've in my list is like $100 million bids or
offers
something.
Offers, leads,
something like that. I think it was like his latest one. I've pre-ordered or booked. I haven't got to it yet, but yeah, his stuff initially was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, the funny thing is I've just started reading another one of Jocko's books. I think it's Discipline Equals Freedom, or Discipline is Freedom, or something like that. Yeah. So far, so good. Similar theme, right?
Yeah.
And again, they all serve a very similar purpose, I think.
The same with like business coaches as well. So I had initially years ago one who I just didn't really click with or resonate with, and so wasn't really able to like really grasp onto some of that advice. Very similar advice. Person I use now, I get along with, and then also the way they deliver and the way they hold me accountable works really well for me. Yeah. And so the same with those like coach relationships, you'll find. I find that you sort of find one that fits in the same way that those self-help business acumen books.
I think
fit.
You're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and some of it's timing based as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I find like maybe you weren't at the right time of your journey for that previous one, right?
That's a good point.
Potentially.
That's a Jocko Willenick takeaway, right? Like they said, it's actually probably my fault that I wasn't able to get the most out of that person. Yeah.
I love that clip he's got on somewhere, right? It's like, it's good. It's like, you went bankrupt. Good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good.
Your wife left you. Good.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. There's a certain amount of rah-rah that's a bit over the top. But
it is, but sometimes you need that, I think.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I just, do you think about like how terrifying he must have been as a operator in their war theatre thing? Like you're just asleep in your bed as a terrorist. This guy, massive, just arrives like that must be terrifying. Yeah. It's a shit time.
Yeah, it's a real bad
time. And then
here
he is telling us how to, do better business and be better in our relationships.
Yeah. And I think the other common theme or trend that I've noticed with these books, there's the business ones, but then there's the happiness ones, which, again, in my mind, all are very similar.
Sure.
It's around expectations. So if you expect that you're going to have a delicious coffee and it's shit, then you've set yourself up for failure. Whereas if you expect that coffee is going to be mediocre and it's going to be okay and it's exceptional, then you're going to be happier.
Yeah, I get
similar
in
nature, right?
Yep.
It's taking extreme ownership of your expectations.
Yeah, nice. Yep, I get that. There was good coffee from Nescafe. Was it Nescafe?
Nespresso.
Similar.
Yeah.
Better than I expected because I had mediocre expectations.
Right.
So,
well, there you go.
Yeah. I also think you can, and I've seen a lot of people stress out about stuff you don't need to, but I think you can, to a degree, you can kind of choose how to react to something. Yeah.
Totally. You mentioned like your go-to book. Mine probably would be, or one of them would be Essentialism.
Okay.
Have you read that? It's
I kind of got to Jocko Willenick's one and was like, that's good. My book.
I've got what I need. Yeah. I've got my one thing. Yeah, the Essentialism essence, I guess, is less is more. Okay. Busyness is a overrated thing, and word, and really trying to distill down what is the actual importance of your life, your priorities, and just tuning out that noise.
It sounds like I should listen to it. I should read it.
It was something that resonated with me, and it was something that I've listened to over and over and over again. But I think with a lot of these books, you can either read the title at one spectrum, or you could maybe read the back cover, or you could get the sort of 60-second version from someone that's read it, right?
Yeah.
And you get the gist of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you listen to? Where do you consume that media?
Mostly Audible.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, like where
driving,
am I?
or do you,
I
running,
think
or
I really enjoyed when I was doing the 75 hard challenges, having those two workouts. So like one would typically be a walk.
yeah.
So it'd be a really good way to spend say 45 minutes listening to a book. Nowadays,
So the workouts are 45 minutes.
they are.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a really good opportunity. Recently, I haven't gotten into a great set of habits when it comes to books, and that's why I haven't really been listening to too many. I usually listen to them either just before bedtime or as I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
So the retention of information is not
Yeah.
incredibly high.
So I often will go to sleep listening to an audiobook, and if I'm lucky, I remember to set a timer for it to turn off, and then in the morning before I drive off, I will search back through and find a relevant point that I remember.
Similar, yeah.
Because that driving while listening is my time.
Right.
I do every day.
I guess you've got 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't don't listen to music at all in my car, like never.
No.
And it's funny, I've got a colleague who says that she just like rocks out every single time she drives.
Right.
Has a great drive, loves music, just
loves
like
it.
sings at the top of her voice, like raps along, whatever. And I'm like, I really rate that energy, but it's just so not me.
No.
I get super bored of music fast, unless I'm in a group of people, and then that's good.
Yeah, it's been funny driving to the coast. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for music, occasionally.
Okay. Yeah.
But sometimes books, sometimes podcasts. But because I don't have a very long commute time at the moment, it's not really almost enough to get into a book. And so,
I get it.
So I guess
I'm a little guilty of listening when I get home for 5 minutes. It's a real
like
common
in the
thing,
car?
I think. Yeah. Like, they're at a really good point in this. I'm going to listen for another 5 minutes. Yeah, but yeah.
I guess it's just the time thing, right? Like how you spend your time. Like, is it better used? Making a phone call. Like how do you spend your time? Like this whole theory that I keep coming back to, the 16-hour theory. Having 8 hours of sleep, hopefully, and then what do you do with the remaining time? Like, do you listen to a book, or how do you spend it? It's just a fascination of mine.
Yeah, fair. I think I spend I feel like I think it was almost 18 months ago I decided to not work Fridays, and so that got me a lot of time on the snow last season, which was great.
Nice.
But then this year, as it's progressing with my daughter starting school and things, my wife and I are going to do like alternating Fridays.
Oh yeah.
So like one Friday, I'll get up and take care of the kids and to their respective places and all of that, and right the way through till dinner or whatever, and she can just do whatever she wants that day.
Cool.
And then equally, that alternating Friday, I'll do the same. And or on days like school holidays or whatever, like next week, I'm going to be commuting from Hamner.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For a couple of days, and then I'll take a few days off. But so we'll be up together. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So you're big on experimenting and just trying new things. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It's been that not working Friday has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like I get more work done in the 4 days than I would have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it would be so common for people to say, well, how do you do that? Like, how do you make it work? Blah, 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 right? Like, there's not enough time. Like, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
All this shit, right?
If you've got a team, like if you're lucky enough to be in a position where you've got people who support you to deliver, the vision of your company, and they believe in it, and they do a good job, you can give them the tasks that need to be done on that day.
Totally.
No question. Like, there's nothing, I don't think, as long as you're smart about the day you take off, like if you've got something really important on Fridays.
Apply a bit of common sense.
Yeah. So I think I think my team have been really integral in that.
Yeah.
And it's great for my mental health. Like it's just, like a happier, more successful, more productive Leon for them.
Nice.
It's good.
Yeah.
And also Fridays are a bit quiet in our industry, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good implementation, a good experiment.
It was initially an experiment, and it only took like 2 months for me to be like, this is me.
This is the way forward. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah. Next, it might be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. No. Yeah, just work Thursdays. Yeah.
All days beginning with Y or ending with Y.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I say to people, like, they say, well, when do you want to have a meeting? Okay, well, I've got a sweet spot of productivity in any given day between 11 and 15:15. So, yeah. It's like that real letdown of you're expecting me to say 2 p.m. or something. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. What else are you planning on experimenting with?
That's a good question. Where we live, we have an Airbnb under our house, which is not like a basement style thing. We live on a hill, and it's another level, and so
Not like a dungeon.
Yeah. And so it's separate access, kitchenette, lounge, bedroom, ensuite. It's basically was the original master suite level of the house, and so this year our plan, we've been Airbnb-ing it for years. Our plan is to move down there as a move our master suite down there now that the kids are old enough. Maybe we'll see how we go for them to live on our level, and then that'll be cool because then we'll have like our own space. I actually think that'll be really good for our relationship because at the moment with the kids and us, we have one lounge. It's all good, and they do their crafting and all the random creative that comes with a 3 and a 5-year-old. And so once we get them to bed, then it's like, well, we'll tidy up, and and then we inhabit that space as well to then maybe watch a movie together, to have like a dedicated space that's for us. I think that'll be really cool.
Nice.
So experiment or change, I think that'll be a good one. Also, that's good. That'll also be good, like well-being in general, because the Airbnb, we have a spa outside and I barely use it because it's booked a lot.
Right.
And so that'll be, back to like every time I've been for a workout, now I can have a proper spa afterwards. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. How good. Yeah. I think these are the types of conversation and things that interest me is like, what are you doing? Like, what have you done? Like, what's worked? What hasn't worked?
Yeah.
I guess we're not where I'm like curious around different strategies, different techniques. I'd like to use the word hack, but hack just sounds like a little bit messy. A bit like the bucket list. Don't love it, but it serves a purpose.
But it's kind of apt. Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, IHF's been a big part of my wellness and sort of happiness, both from a sauna and occasionally there are weights there, from what I understand. No, I do like lifting.
Like waiting for a coffee, or
yeah, pretty much. But in terms of the physical thing, but also the community and just had 15 minutes free before, so it's like sweet. Just head down there for a quick coffee and see who I run into. Yeah,
I've been blown away. I've been using it for a while, but not really taking the time to do the unwind thing and have a sauna and that. And I've met some surprising big hitters there.
Yeah, totally.
Like it's been really interesting. Yeah,
absolutely.
Taking the time to, that's really good. I really like O Studio for that as well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
I've been a fan of Tim and the team there for a long time.
Yeah,
big believer in floats.
Yes.
Yeah, still do about a float a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
float a week.
Yeah,
shit.
Worth the money. It's so good.
Yeah.
Once you get into the routine of actually switching off, which has traditionally been very difficult for me.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little bit of like breath work that I learned at a yoga class once that I've implemented. And then and away we go. Yeah.
Very cool.
45 minutes. You do it over lunch.
Yeah.
And then, grab a croissant and coffee on your way back to the office.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
For sure don't have any caffeine before though, or you won't get the benefit. Yeah.
No. I have done a few floats. I did a 3-pack with the intent of getting into the habit, but for whatever reason, I think the time of life might not have been quite right. But yeah, it could be worth relooking at.
Nice. Yeah, 3-pack. I feel like they should do. I think they do a 5-pack, but I think a 3-pack might not even be enough. Like
to get into that.
Yeah. To really get it. It took me a while. Motorkai originally got me onto floats.
Yeah.
he talked about it once, and I'm a big fan of being like, oh yeah, okay, like let's book one, let's do it like right now. And
Like
so I
right
sat
now.
down and we booked them,
I love
and
that.
then like the next day we both went and did it, and I've kept it up. Yeah, it's been really
right.
good. Yeah,
Awesome. How good. Yeah, those guys are doing some good stuff. I see they've got a podcast now as well.
oh, do they?
Yeah, a studio podcast.
So I think, is it Matty that's running
Yeah.
it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I know Matt had a podcast of his own
Right.
prior to getting to know Tim and being in business with them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, do you know Matt?
No, I know of him. I haven't met him, but
Yeah, he's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
I know him from a long time ago, but he once did a backflip and broke both of his legs or his knees or something.
Oof.
Yeah, at the same time. Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. He'll crack up. There's so much to him,
Right.
and I remember that story from so long ago, and that's what I lead with. But yeah, great guys. Good, Tim Bateman. I think Tim Bateman's brother, Tim that owns O Studio, Tim Bateman's brother just got appointed CEO of Naitahu.
Yeah, Ben, right?
Yeah. It's
I
like,
know.
What a connection, what a family.
I know Ben from the coast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I haven't seen him in years and years and years, but just sort of followed his career through LinkedIn a little bit. But excelling, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, anyone that, is involved in an organisation that can affect change and impact so many people, like has to be pretty cool, right?
Totally.
Yeah, has to be pretty good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's the power of, say, something like LinkedIn. You can sort of maybe not know someone super well, but sort of keep an eye on
Totally.
how they're doing and progress. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without the cat memes and stuff that happens on Facebook.
Yeah.
So what's on the agenda for you this year?
Well, I am going to be focusing 80% on coaching.
Yep.
One-to-one business coaching.
Great.
Growing the revenue through that. Got 14 clients currently, which I'm really grateful for.
Well done. Yeah.
Really enjoying it. I'm about 6 months in, which is, I guess it's not a long time, but it's long enough to know that I've found something that I'm really passionate about doing, and getting really nice feedback and positive affirmation that I'm on the right track. So that'll occupy the majority of my time. The podcast is probably 10% or so.
Yep.
And then that subdivision on the West Coast, that'll be about a few percent as well.
Ticking away. Yeah.
So keeping it pretty simple, like just channeling my energy, not being distracted like I have been most of my career.
I feel you.
You feel,
Yeah.
And I just feeling good about the clarity with that.
Nice.
The podcast is pretty dialed in now in terms of Toby with the editing, production, posting, cutting it up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Toward the end of the year, my goal is to have a full-time admin / assistant to help further with a variety of tasks, but more so in the promotion of the podcast.
Cool.
Toby does a fair amount, but then just someone to take it over a bit more.
Very cool.
But yeah, pretty straightforward year.
Are there any podcasts or guests that are like hero level that you want to get?
I would like to get a billionaire. That's something that I've set the challenge of.
Great.
I've got Elon on the list. I don't know if that's like, I don't know why, but I do.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd quite like to get Tim Bateman on the show, actually.
Yeah.
He's been on my list for a while. Honestly, though, it's more about just having authentic, like, organic conversations. And what I mean by that is, like, just going with the flow. Like, if I come across someone interesting, I'm like, fuck, this is a good yarn.
Yeah, right.
I'd really like to
I'm
do
going to collect this human. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of the guests we both know, and you'll, hear what I'm saying when I say that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's not like I've got this list of like celebrities, quote unquote, or people. Well, I kind of do have, to be honest, but I actually don't care if it happens or not. It's more about timing and just having like the stars align, right?
Yeah, cool.
Some of the best ones I've had recently that haven't quite been aired or published, they've come through the gym. Guy, this will be live now by the time this comes out, Simon Rowland,
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've come across him at all.
I know the name, but
Amazing episode.
Yeah.
Venture capitalist. Met him through the gym, and not just met him through the gym. I just asked someone at the water cooler one day. I was like, "Hey, you listen to the podcast, right? Who do you think would make a good guest?" And they're like, "Oh, have you do you know Simon?" I'm like, "Yeah, roughly. Like we've met a couple of times." And just messaged them immediately on LinkedIn, and then within 10 minutes it was booked in. I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's
Same
cool.
with Amos. That's exactly how that happened.
Yeah.
It was just like Emily and I were talking, and it's like this would be good. Book it in, done. So there seems to be a trend. Like the faster I can book,
Yeah, great.
almost the better the chat.
Yeah, right.
Apart from you're a bit hard to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just going to keep on going. 2 episodes a week. Do the one guest, the one solo episode, and see
Cool.
what happens.
I like it.
Because I am trying to make the 10 million as well.
Yeah.
But my route to doing that is through coaching, which is also going to lead to a consultancy type offering.
Yeah.
Actually branding it as alt.
Cool.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, bringing alt back.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
But in a business and analysis standpoint, not marketing.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So yeah.
I love the. I really like that idea of like bringing that brand back.
Yeah. And
It's like a brand and a field you're already really familiar with and proud of. So
yeah. And ironically, just before I shut it down, we did a full rebrand.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it got used somewhat, but not really.
Yeah. Right. Cool. Okay.
So yeah, dig that out, dust it off, enhance it a bit. But
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So that's what I've got planned for the year, and then just continuing to grow it.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many billionaires does New Zealand have?
Not many.
One?
No,
2.
a handful. I think maybe a dozen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think 6 to 12.
Just a billionaire's dozen. How many is that? Is it similar to a baker's dozen?
Yeah. Billionaires.
Somewhere.
It's amazing though when you put things like this out there, how many people have either got a connection or
Yeah.
they know a guy. Or, like I was on a plane up to Auckland recently, and I got talking to the guy next to me who is in the motorsport industry and had some connection to the Zero guy, Rod Drury, is it? Yeah.
Not Rod Drury. Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah, I know the
Rod
name.
someone.
Yeah.
And I was like, how well do you know him? Like,
Yeah.
how well?
Yeah.
So, I've got his number, kind of thing. I'm like, it's pretty good.
Yeah. What is that? Live on the podcast? No.
Yeah. But they're out there though. They're out there. And
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
they don't need to be in New Zealand either. Like this other guy that I said that to recently, he's like, I've got a guy that, his family's like got it, but they're not in New Zealand, kind of thing.
Sure.
So,
yeah, cool.
Yeah, but off to Auckland next week and hoping to do an episode or 2.
Yeah, cool.
So if you know of anyone up there that could be suitable.
I had a bunch of interesting chats
Yeah.
with people up there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If there's anyone that you think would be like open to it and like, I'd get on well with that sort of the requirement,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Matt from sharedspace.co.nz.
Oh yeah.
One of the founders of...
Shared Space.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've got a subscription with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Very cool company and cool team. Great fun. But yeah, Matt's got a lot of business acumen and he's got a really interesting life and lifestyle and stuff. It's good.
Yeah, wicked. Okay.
He's a good chat.
It's probably got a space to do it too, which is handy.
He works at a biz dojo now, Ponsonby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Beautiful fit out on the top floor of the stuff building.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Sounds amazing.
He's-
So
yeah,
Biz Dojo's still trading then?
that site is the last one. Yeah.
Oh right, gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they've shut all the others down. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. You guys presumably on there on the website?
On Shed Space?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I was lucky enough. I kind of, and while maybe difficult to pin down for the podcast, I tried to shy away. My marketing strategy is a lot about talk about our members.
Yes.
Let's celebrate the success of and it's not I don't think I'm any sort of leading authority. I have a fair bit of experience, but and so I did a meet the people behind, and so I did an interview with them that was on their newsletter, and then also was recently invited and spoke on a panel. It was at the first coworking Aotearoa kind of industry event for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Next one's going to be in Queenstown.
Oh, really?
So you should come.
Maybe I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hasn't been announced. I'm just saying that it's in Queenstown,
right.
Manifesting it.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Putting the pressure on Matt and his team,
right,
and the others.
Is it kind of an annual?
That's the intention.
That
was it was the inaugural one, just to talk about the industry and.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
cool. And was it up in Auckland?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It was at a generator site. They sponsored the some of the food and drink.
Yeah,
or something,
cool.
I think. Yeah.
What's generator? Is it a incubator or is it a co-working space?
A generator's a shared space.
Shared space, yeah.
Started as a just one or two people, and then they've got a bunch of spaces in Auckland, and they got acquired by Precinct Property. It's like a publicly listed property fund. So I guess that's like every indie co-working space owner's dream is to just be acquired by a friendly property fund.
Right.
But yeah, I think the idea really, generators are really quite large, and the idea for a property fund is, if they have some of their stock, single-digit percentage, I think, of floor square, but they have it as flex, and then when those people grow, or if some of those come through, and who are they going to look to for a traditional lease?
Totally.
Well, it'll be Precinct Property.
Yeah,
Totally. They'll already have that relationship, so it's just a funnel, I think. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, so interesting function. But yeah.
Yeah, right. What's that big one up there called? Is it North Shore maybe?
Oh, the Beehive?
Beehive, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool.
That has probably like the coolest staircase I've ever seen.
Very cool, yeah.
Yeah. I look at that building and it's amazing, obviously, but each floor has got a huge hole in the middle. How could you just lose out on that much square metres, like from a development point of view?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Great building,
Yeah, we are talking about it though.
Yeah. Yep. And they're, largely full. They have some really, really impressive, tenants as well. Yeah. Yeah. Auckland's full of big brands and international presence. Christchurch not as much, but yeah, some of their, it's pretty cool. I was there, in February. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And some of the names on the offices are pretty impressive. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, that what's that one is it Wynyard Quarter?
Yeah,
in the city there.
The big multi-story one in Wynyard is Generator.
Oh, that's Generator.
The big a black clad building.
Yeah.
There's also one in a sort of heritagey style building called the John Lysart building, which is marketed as Grid AKL.
Right.
That's actually an ex-Biz Dojo site.
Ah, gotcha.
That's one of the first ones that shut down.
Yeah, interesting.
And then I think they had some sort of delivery contract for incubation with the council, and then and then the council resurrected the site and called it Grid AKL.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess it is the epicentre for business in New Zealand, obviously, and with that comes a lot of remote international sites up there, and yeah.
I wouldn't like to try and crack that market.
No, and it's a pretty common sentiment from a few people that I know that are either expanding nationally or looking for that next physical location, and it just
I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't.
No,
Auckland's great to go to, but I don't think I'd like to stay there or do business there.
No, moderation.
Yeah, moderation. Yeah, it's a great place. Yeah, for a weekend.
Yeah. I'm going to see Diary of a CEO. He's doing a live show.
Really? Yeah, okay. Choice.
So that'll be interesting.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I love the idea of those crossing over to live shows. Yeah.
It is cool, isn't it? Yeah, I've got no idea on the format, if it's going to be like a scripted presentation with Q&A, or who knows. I saw a friend of mine in Perth had a photo with him just recently, just being like, really nice guy and just such a great experience. So
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems pretty relatable.
When's that? Next week?
Wednesday night. It's funny. I've mentioned it to a few people, and people are like, "Oh, that's cool," and like go to look for tickets. It's gone. Yeah. But a lot of people didn't even know about it. So,
probably just need to consume more podcasts. But
maybe I don't even know if I heard about it through that.
Oh, right.
Ironically, it's not like he promotes it.
No,
but it is an interesting crossover, isn't it, of media going from podcast to in person.
Yeah, there's been a bunch of comedy ones that have crossed over really successfully. I think. Yeah. Have you ever listened to No Such Thing as a Fish?
No.
It's a comedy one. It's the original researchers behind QI, that TV show with like Stephen Fry and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's had a bunch of facts that didn't make it into the show, but were still really interesting.
Right.
And they're all comedians. It's
right.
funny, but yeah. And they transitioned to live shows, which was awesome.
Right.
And there's actually an F1 coverage, P1 with Matt and Tommy, and they broke off from some media corporation. They were employed and they were doing a podcast, and it got really popular. They took it out independent, and then now they live in the UK and they're doing live shows. I don't know what format that'll take, but they're hilarious personalities. So
well, that's it. I guess like now with technology, it's possible to put yourself out there, and if you're naturally entertaining, funny, humorous, charismatic, you've got a platform or
so when are you going live then, given those
Me? No.
Me?
No. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I just like this as a...
Did I talk to you about the idea of the Gorilla podcast?
The Gorilla podcast? No, maybe, no.
As in, like, you go with a guest to somewhere that's totally inappropriate for a podcast and set up like this and just go and talk until you get kicked out. And like the idea of it could be in a really interesting place, like, an art gallery or a museum or the city council building or the lobby of Deloitte.
It could work.
I don't know, but maybe not.
Audio quality could be compromised.
Could be.
That's something that I've struggled with and something that I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah, right.
Not worse. But I like the idea. I like the enthusiasm. And I mean, heading to Auckland with no place to record, maybe that's a good testing ground.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I've got somewhere you can record if you want.
Okay, sweet.
Yep.
Good to know. Power of conversation, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I guess likewise.
And I promise it's legit, and I'm not just setting you up to have a Gorilla podcast.
You just want to scratch that itch, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about who you know, though, isn't it? Like if someone hit me up, was from Auckland, had a podcast, they're like, hey, can we use a room?
Yeah.
You book it, pay for it if you want, but like whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
And I guess that's the beauty of having spaces like this, is that you can clearly use the old favour currency.
I've got some. Professionally, we have a couple of reciprocal agreements with spaces in Auckland.
Oh yeah, cool.
But I also just like drop into random ones and try to emotionally force myself fly in my face. Sorry. Into these other co-working spaces and learn what they're doing and share my vision.
Right.
And so from that comes lots of backwards and forwards with meeting rooms and stuff. It's good.
Yeah, nice. I had a introduction to the Epic Westport guy recently. Yeah. Yep. Do you know him?
I don't know him.
No.
I have met him a long time ago, I think. But they do some pretty cool stuff, I think.
Yeah, sounds like a character. He's got a few things going on.
I think you have to be.
Maybe. Prerequisite, maybe. The Greymouth one, I almost booked a spot in there recently. Not quite the same vibe, but
Yeah, small town ones are interesting. Yeah. Even like Wanaka, Tauranga, it's got those. They've got their own vibes going on. They're very different than what you'll find here, but they're their own thing, and they go good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I guess the appetite exists, regardless of the size of the community. It's just a
digital mobilisation.
Oof, it's a big word.
Yeah, I heard it somewhere.
Big couple of words.
That's it. It's. I can't imagine. I'm like, how lucky are these people to have a skill they can do remotely, that they allows them to go live in Wanaka and live that lifestyle. Yeah.
I mean, I look at some of the tenants here, and they're working for global tech companies. That one guy works for GE.
Yeah.
As a wind turbine engineer. Like just random stuff like that, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Like I would not have imagined that, but I guess just had a guy drop in the other day just for a day, casual day. He was Google or Facebook, one of them.
Right.
Yeah, he's just traveling here from Malaysia or Singapore or something. Yeah. It's just like, oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I quite like that whole effect that it does allow for different people to come and work and play. And I guess like with myself and a bit of travel coming up, Auckland and then Brisbane and then Queenstown, it's like I plan to explore that a little bit more, both with the co-working spaces but also the gyms.
Cool. Yeah,
so like in Brisbane, for example, there's a similar version to IHF over there, and so go and take a look there.
Absolutely.
Try the sauna out.
Yeah. When my wife was full-time as a pharmacist, we couldn't go to a new town without her checking one out, and I can't go to a new town without checking out a co-working space.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I can see why you'd go and check out the the IHF kind of level, offerings. Yeah.
Do you see a world where there would be a chain of co-working spaces that is in every city, like it's almost like a brand or a license type arrangement?
Maybe. I think IWG's probably got the model with the deliveries there. I don't know, but like IWG owns 37 brands across the world.
Oh wow!
They have 5 principal brands, and so yes, they're probably that already.
Right.
Like you might have call centre in Regis, and then maybe you've got your exec team in Spaces, which is owned by IWG Group, but they're a different offering.
Right.
And also in different locations
Gotcha.
all over the world.
Okay.
Yeah, they have 2,500 spaces around the world or something. Yeah, so maybe.
Interesting. So is Regis part of IWG?
Yeah, Regis is owned by IWG. Yeah.
Right, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's IWG. It's the holding or the ownership. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Do they have any other physical sites in New Zealand, or is it just the Regis?
They've got, Regis and Spaces as far as I'm aware.
Oh, yeah.
And Spaces, I think maybe there's one in Wellington, but and there was one in Auckland, but I think it went under. They've got quite a weird model of partnership with landlords and fit outs and things, and when they go south real loudly and unfortunately. But
right, gotcha.
They're also probably arguably the biggest in the world, so
yes,
who am I to criticise?
That's right. Yeah. Are they? I guess they're publicly listed somewhere.
Probably somewhere. Yep.
Yeah. Liechtenstein or somewhere.
Yeah.
Ireland.
Ireland. Yeah.
Classic.
That's funny.
Yeah. Bloody good. Well, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, Leon.
Was it really?
This could be a record.
Is it?
It could well be. Yeah.
Should we just keep our phone line open all day and stay on?
Oh, I'm quite into it. I actually put this out there to the universe. I was like, look, I want to experiment with a Joe Rogan 3 to 4 hour marathon podcast.
Right.
Just to see what happens.
There you go. I think I'd be into that. I reckon you should do a round table one in here with no more than 3 guests, but you get over 4 hours, and every hour you get a new type of food or alcohol delivered. Oh. Maybe not booze, because that'd probably just end up with some horrific stories and inappropriate stuff shared.
Yeah.
But like if you got,
catered.
like pot sticker dumpling from within, the same building. They're in the same building?
Yeah, just downstairs, yeah.
Like get some, sweet gyoza up here, like beauty. And then, maybe like some Bacon Brothers with beers barbecuing, hour 2, or maybe that should be last because you probably go to sleep after that.
That's
maybe some
strategically smart.
Cluck slurp ramen. So I don't know. I'd be up for that.
That's good. The banh mi's are quite good down there.
Oh yeah, I might have one of those today.
Ooh, could be a plan. Yeah, nice. I quite like this idea. Yeah, it's all about just trying different things for me.
Yeah,
like I did the sauna podcast. That was a good laugh.
Yeah.
It was a shame we had to wrap it up because I felt like the chat was just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, right.
But I was just getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and I just couldn't. There was no amount of plunging that would cool me down.
I was in the sauna yesterday for longer than I had been to date.
Right.
And because I was chatting, and there was someone said something really funny. I had a real good, belly laugh at something, and I felt really lightheaded afterwards. And I was like, "Oh shit,
I'm tapping out.
I need out." Yeah,
yeah.
Before you have to drag me out.
Was that in the premium area?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Shout out to the premium area.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Philip Carter for matching me for time in the sauna.
Oh, really?
And then when I jumped in the plunge, him going, well, I have to do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cold, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Compared to the other one.
Is the other one not as cold?
Nowhere near as cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's at least a couple of degrees different. Yeah. Yeah, I've been in there at times when, I don't know, there's been someone else in there or like a maintenance person or something, and it's just like, fuck, this is cold, but I don't want to seem like I can't handle it, obviously.
Oh, so I can't handle that at all. I get in and I'm in for like 4 seconds under and then out.
Get out of there real quick.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe in cold plunges.
No?
Maybe I just hate
controversial cold take.
Yeah, I know someone who cold plunges every morning, and that's their thing. And I get it; it could be part of a routine, and that's healthy and all that. But I think, did it start out as like a recovery for athletes, like to stop swelling and stuff, and then it became, like David Goggins, like callous the mind, harden, or Jocko Willenick, like, oh, that's cold, good. Yeah. Like, and now it's like a thing. How long can you last in a cold plunge? And I don't know, because I can't last very long at all, and maybe that's why I don't believe in it. But I'm a fan of cooling off after the sauna.
Yes.
That's what I use it for.
Yeah, I think there's some science and research behind them. I think,
Is there? Yeah,
from what I understand, like I think Huberman, Andrew Huberman.
I've heard the name,
and
seen some shorts on it. Yeah.
I think he's talked quite a bit about it. I think I recall, and it does tend to change frequently, but I remember hearing 11 minutes per week total time. So you can do either 2 5.5 minutes or whatever you want to do in terms of composition, but apparently that's the number.
Really?
So they say.
Okay. I'll commit to doing 11 minutes in a week for the next 4 weeks.
Just maybe go to the other side, the other normal part of IHF.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it is good. I've had some good chats in there.
In the cold plunge?
No, in the premium side.
I can barely even breathe, let alone talk in the cold plunge.
Yeah. No, it's survival. Yeah.
Yeah. I've met some really interesting characters over there.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy yesterday who turns out he owns the IT company who just completed a refresh at Saltworks of all of our IT infrastructure.
Oh, random.
Switches and access points and, firewall setup, et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah, right. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I think I ran into that guy too. Yeah. And then I ran into a maybe not a husband-wife, but a girlfriend-boyfriend the other night. And I was like, oh, that's right. It is a co-ed facility.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Had that the other night,
So that's cool as well.
Yeah, totally. Took me by surprise for a second.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. I thought, oh, that's right. So, no, I'm liking that. It's a good experience.
Good stuff.
Yeah, very good. Well, let's get this catered for our mega session with food and alcohol. That sounds like a good time.
Could be.
You know who's keen for that is Amos.
Yeah?
He's really pumped. Or Carabassus, actually. Both of those guys.
Yeah.
So I've got a third mic now.
on a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a deaf Jack Russell. Just because he loves a chat and he's an amazing guy. He's got a good head on him for telling a good story, But like once you get him going, there's no getting him back.
There's no stopping. Yeah.
Love you, Mike. Sorry.
Is that what Jack Russell's like?
Oh, I just feel but and then if a deaf one and it just went,
right.
There's no getting it back.
No stop.
I think I'm paraphrasing Theo Von or somebody, but
yeah.
I think I hear that. I hear on podcasts sometimes, where the stories ran, and the podcast host is really trying to get it back.
Right.
But
it's out of control. Yeah. Well, that's what I thought was going to happen with the 100th episode one.
Yeah. Okay.
Having 10 of us.
Yeah.
I thought this could be out of control. But I think because we had 2 mics only, so it's kind of like the talking stick.
Yeah.
There was just like the 2 mics getting passed around, so it wasn't complete chaos. It was like a signal, like you needed the mic to talk.
Yeah.
And so, everyone was really quite respectful and, under
Shocking.
control.
Yeah.
I guess they were trying to survive as well, being in the sauna.
Jeez.
So, good experiment, but keen to try the 3-person pod out. Could add a different layer, right?
Experiment.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leon. I've got actually a closing tradition that I stole off Diary of a CEO.
Oh.
So the last guest has left a question for you to answer.
Okay.
And then you'll leave a question for the next guest.
Great.
So the question is, what is the most important or best lesson that you've ever learned?
That's a great question. The best or most important lesson. I mean, there's many. Is it relationship? Is it,
It could be anything.
Yeah.
And it is, and then you are obviously put on the spot. So take a moment.
I think the most important lesson that I learned, this is probably a fair answer. I think one of the most important, if not the most important thing that I learned or realization that I had was I used to be pretty good at setting goals year on year, and I used to achieve them. My thing in my head was 3 goals per year, and I remember it was like 3 years in a row, and I'd met all my goals, and I was thinking like, okay, I need to start thinking, they need to be harder. They need to be harder, And then we had our daughter, and I realised, well, now am I doing planning a year in advance? Like I need to be planning 25 years in advance. Like I need to secure, generational prosperity and health and, well-being, not just, buy this house, do this, do that, like this year. That's ridiculous. Like you need, and so then once you've got that vision, you know how you're going over 10 years, how you're going over 20 years. And so, I think it was the having kids, realising I needed to be thinking a lot more longer term.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. I really like that.
And I'll come up with a question for your next guest.
Yeah, no, thank you. I
Thanks
appreciate your
for having
time. Stay tuned for the next episode.
That's right.
Thank you,
Nice
Leon.
one. Cheers.
Oh, and just before we go, we've got a new record.
Have we?
2 hour and 1 minute. Yeah.
Whoop.
Woo. Good way to finish.